Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Carl Lissick. I represent Drive Clean Indiana, and welcome to the June meeting of the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition meeting. So today we've got wonderful speakers that will be speaking today on some of the national clean cities and communities and NRail tools and resources that are available, and that'll be Abby Brown, and then Carter Granberg from US EPA Region 5 and our Indiana Clean School Bus delegate will be talking about updates on some of the projects and programs that are going on with EPA. So again, we are Drive Clean Indiana. We represent the Clean Cities and Communities program here. So we're a statewide coalition that promotes all the alternative fuels for the state of Indiana. So I also just wanted to mention, we just recently had some of the awards, the rebate awards through EPA, and here's a listing of the school corporations that were awardees from the recent awards from EPA. So we're proud and happy to see that we were pretty well 51 school buses total throughout the state of Indiana. So we're really excited, and hopefully we'll hear more about this in the upcoming months as our upcoming meetings take place. We'll have some of these potentially talk about some of their projects. So next slide, please. So with that, I'd like to introduce Miss Abby Brown. Abby is the transportation project leader for the Center for Integrated Mobility Sciences with the National Renewable Energy Lab. So if you could take it away from here, Abby, welcome.
All right, great. Thanks, Carl. Let me get my screen shared here. All right, can you all see my slides?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. I will take it away then. So I'm Abby Brown with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, like Carl mentioned. I've been at NREL for about 4.5 years, and for the last 2 or 3 years, I have been primarily supporting our work on electric school bus projects and working very closely with the Environmental Protection Agency and the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation for the EPA's Clean School Bus Program. So I'll talk a little bit more about just a quick background about the Joint Office and NREL and why we're here today. So to the next slide. So if you're not aware, the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation was created through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and was tasked through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, to support the EPA's Clean School Bus Program, in addition to the FTA's LONO program, with technical assistance specifically. And NREL was asked to support that technical assistance for the Joint Office. That's why I'm here today. We, of course, have had a longstanding history with the Department of Energy through the Clean Cities program. So we worked with the DOE to create these partnerships with the DOT and the EPA and the Joint Office. As you all know, with Clean Cities, we have a strong background of providing technical assistance through the Clean Cities and Communities program for over 30 years now, with over 20,000 stakeholders nationwide. And that technical assistance has really been a core part of Clean Cities. So we've been able to leverage that history and that background to really stand up technical assistance for electric school buses relatively quickly once the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Clean School Bus Program was created. So the Technical Response Service, as you all know, is part of that network, and they're industry experts that have been providing answers to technical questions about alternative fuels for years across all the fuel types. And then we also, of course, for more complex issues and technical problem solving, our Tiger Teams program through Clean Cities provides technical problem solving to overcome obstacles. And of course, the technical assistance being offered by the Joint Office and NREL for the EPA is an extension of both of those programs. So we were excited to launch the Clean School Bus Technical Assistance several years ago, now with the launch of the Clean School Bus Program, to provide direct technical assistance to eligible, and I'm sorry, this slide needs to be slightly updated, but for eligible transit agencies and school bus fleets to plan for and deploy clean school buses. So rideelectric.gov was launched earlier this year, and you can hop on there to see all the great resources and tools that we have available to you all related to school bus and transit bus electrification. So how to access technical assistance, you can access it through these, the QR code on this screen, or by going to driveelectric.gov, or by emailing cleanschoolbus@nrel.gov. And essentially what will happen when you email us, we will get back to you within 48 hours. And questions range from very simple to more in-depth questions, which I'll get into a little bit more on what we can help with. But this is the front door essentially on how to reach us and how to start the conversation, so how we can help you all. So the technical assistance structure, I get asked a lot, how does a technical assistance work? So essentially, if you reach out to us, we take question intake through that form or through the email address, or you can reach out to me directly, and we will initially provide some tools and resources. And many times we do pull in a subject matter expert for more in-depth questions. From there, we work with the subject matter expert to evaluate a project. What are the technical needs? How can we help with creating a plan for your project? And then we execute on the project, and then project wrap up. So if we have really key lessons learned from something that we help the fleet with, our goal is to really get that information back out into the public so that we can get those lessons learned broadly disseminated, so everybody can benefit from what happened in the project. So this slide is quick examples of how we can help. This is really not meant to be all encompassing, but these are some examples just to kind of get the wheels turning on things that we could potentially help with. And these questions, as you can see, can range from very simple to more in-depth. But we're also here to discuss or review your ideas or plans, or just sort of be a sounding board along your electrification process if you just want somebody to bounce what you're thinking off of for a gut check on whether you should move forward with that plan. So we're definitely available for those things. And really, another key point that I haven't mentioned is that this technical assistance that we can provide through NREL in the Joint Office is completely free of charge, no strings attached. We're really just here to help you all with any issues that you have or questions as you're going through your electrification process. So I'm going to highlight a few tools and resources now. Well, many of these are newly created, but this first one is one that we created for the Department of Energy and Clean Cities program prior to the Clean School Bus program launching, actually. And this is a technical assistance series, quick videos on different topics that are maybe of interest related to school bus electrification. And, we also often talk with fleets that have information overload from bus manufacturers and utilities and charging station providers and electricians. So the videos here are really meant to provide fleet managers or others in your organization the knowledge to understand the steps of electrification and what you really need to consider when you're planning your procurement. So these videos can be watched offline. They're all on YouTube. If you have questions about anything, again, you can always reach out to me. Another question that we get a lot is working with utilities. So we have a couple of resources that are specific for this. And this webinar here is a past webinar that we did with the EPA that really gets into things that you might want to ask and talk about with your utility. But if you're thinking about electrifying and have not contacted your utility, that's likely your next step. And of course, if you need help finding the right contact at your utility, the EPA has utility engagement pledge to support school districts. So you can email the Clean School Bus TA@nrel.gov and we'll get you the right point of contact there. And then the question we get asked a lot from fleets is, what do I need to talk with my utility about? So again, this webinar covers those, and some of the topics here are covered in that webinar. But this next resource is a similar resource that we created for working with your utilities, and is a really good worksheet to sort of work through the steps of preparing for that discussion with your utility. So this planning form is meant to help you organize your site information to share with your utility and your charging station provider. And an explanation of how to use this form was provided in the webinar linked here. And the form itself is available on driveelectric.gov. Another tool that is relatively new that we've created is the electric school bus route analysis tool. A question we get all the time is, how do I know if electric school buses are going to meet the needs of my routes? And so this form is really meant to help you walk through and understand whether they will meet your needs for your specific routes. So we presented, again, this tool during an EPA Clean School Bus webinar, and it's now available on driveelectric.gov along with an instructional video of how to use it. But if you do want someone to help walk you through it or help you put in your inputs, we can certainly help with that. So please reach out to us. The next thing I wanted to highlight is a new help sheet that came out over the winter time. We're into hot weather months, so a hot one will actually be coming soon. But this cold weather help sheet is meant to help you all start to consider what things you should be thinking about related to cold weather operations for electric school bus and how to optimize performance when temperatures drop. So the help sheet is linked on driveelectric.gov. You can check that out, and I'll let you all know when we have the hot one out any day now. This next resource is just a quick start to electrifying your school bus fleet. This is also on driveelectric.gov and is meant to be a simple resource to just begin understanding if electric school buses might be a good fit for you and your fleet. Next piece I wanted to highlight is our familiarization webinars. So in April 2024, so just a few months ago, NREL and the Joint Office began a 4-part familiarization webinar series geared towards school bus operators and technicians. And it will be a great resource for any fleet that is looking to electrify your school bus fleets. So the Joint Office and NREL are partnering with the International Transportation Learning Center to put on the webinars, and the content will be directly presented by school bus manufacturers. And operators and techs have been encouraged to be on the live sessions so that you can ask questions or bring up any concerns you have. The recordings are on driveelectric.gov and will be made available as we move through these. But some of the topics are listed here on this slide. So just an overview for operators, technology overview, high voltage safety, and charging methods and overview. And really meant to just say, hey, these are the buses. They're not too scary. This is how you can work on them and really just start to get that familiarization with the buses. The next piece, this is a brand new forum, so I want to highlight that and introduce it to everyone here today. This is an online message board for school bus operators where you can communicate with your peers on anything related to electric school buses. We've heard from many fleets that you wanted a place to connect with others on your questions and seek advice. So the Joint Office created this site specifically for fleet operators. And you can create new discussions or reply to one another and share attachments. And if you'd like access, please go to the link here on this slide and you'll receive an email within 24 hours to sign up. And this resource will really rely on the users. So I encourage as many of you to sign up as possible and to actively share your experiences and knowledge with others on the forum. Last few slides here. So we have been doing some webinars with the EPA's Clean School Bus program. We've done many in 2023, and we actually have one that kicked off in March, just a 7-part monthly technical assistance series of webinars. Actually, one is happening right after this call if you're interested. But the topics that you can register for are linked here on the EPA's Clean School Bus slide. And then, of course, any past recordings are on this YouTube link here at the bottom of the slide. So if you want to go back and look through other things that we've presented on throughout the years, everything is linked there. Last slide here, just a brand new program is the Clean Bus Planning Awards. So NREL worked with the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation to put this program out. And essentially it is free technical assistance for comprehensive fleet electrification transition plans. So any fleet that's eligible for Clean School Bus funding can now apply. And essentially, if you get moved forward with the program, you will receive a free transition plan for how to go about transitioning your electric school bus or your fleets to electric. This program is managed by NREL and the Joint Office, and we're currently accepting applications. I think we've already moved through with 6 or 7 school bus fleets, so we're excited to get more on board. So please share the word here and you know of anybody that might be interested. Just wrapping up again, this is how to reach out to us. Or again, you can reach out to me directly if you have questions. And that's all I have today.
Well, Abby, a lot of great information. Thank you again for sharing. Thanks for presenting. If you have questions, please put those in the chat, or we'll be on after our next presentation, and you can ask those questions directly to Abby. So let's move on to our next presenter, which is no stranger to the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, and that is Mr. Carter Granberg. And Carter's just going to give us an update on some of the great things that are going on within EPA. Carter?
Thank you very much, Carl. I just noticed the little background removed presenter view. That's fun. Yeah, so if we can jump into the slides here. Thank you. Yeah, so quick update today. Not a lot of new info other than that the rebates have been announced. So if you go onto the epa.gov/clean school bus, you can see the official list of rebatees across the country. There's also a filter, and I'll post in the chat here in a second, but there's also the ability to filter down to state level, filter by different criteria and kind of parse out who got school buses where. We've just started making visualizations and maps of this to help share with coalitions if that would be useful for folks. So this is a map on the left, and I can send these out too if folks are interested. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to send high resolution files for you if you'd like those, or I can share them in the chat too. Image on the left is just showing the entire region and is showing an overview of who applied for the rebates this round and if they were selected. So white is they did not apply as a school district. Red is they applied, but just due to the nature of the lottery system, were unfortunately not selected. And green are the lucky few that applied and were selected. And then on the right, we have a breakdown of Indiana with the same color system. Oh yeah, definitely, Susan. I will, and we're still making them for the other states. So this is I'm the one making these, so I'm a little biased. I might have made Indiana first. So I got to circle around to the other states, but I will send out full ones for all of them, and I can send out. These will not be available on the EPA website. These are not part of headquarters. These are just kind of like a pet side project we're doing in house, but we are, like I said, really happy to share these out with you guys. If anyone here wants these, please just shoot me an email and I can send files over to you. And I can share my email in the chat too. Here, I'll just do that right now really quick.
And I think Carter, yeah, it's sorry to jump in here.
Yeah, go for it.
We'll share them on the other state coalitions in the MCDI call too. Don't worry about
it. Yeah. We're also going to start looking at other things with the maps, just see if we can see trends. We haven't gotten that far yet, but want to see, like, do we see some kind of spider webbing effect happening between rounds of rebates? Like, do school districts in the first round of rebates who get buses influence the school districts around them? Is that helping us for future targeting? Do we want to start targeting school districts more aggressively, surrounding schools that have buses because they seem more likely to apply? So we're going to start looking at that kind of stuff, and once we get that info, we'll break that out and let you all know. But so early stages, but just a few visualizations that we're happy to share right now. Can jump ahead. We've gone over this slide before, and so I'm more just throwing it up here so that people have it and are aware of it. Not going to dig into all the details on it, but just want to flag right now that we still have an open clean heavy duty vehicle grant that closes July 25th. So if you are interested in applying, please go to that link at the bottom, epa.gov/clean heavy duty vehicle program. There is tons of resources, tons of info. Everything that's on the slide is there. There are tools to help you understand better about upgrading your fleet, what that would look like. There's calculators, there's links to other websites about energy savings. There's breakdowns of the program and funding like there is on here. So not going to hammer all of this, but just bringing it all to everyone's attention in case you weren't already aware. And then with that, and with both programs, we've been flagging this over and over again, and I've showed this slide before, but just highlighting it again, is that we have, well, not the EPA, to be clear, we're not supposed to be giving tax advice. We're just bringing it to everyone's attention that the IRS has tax credits available right now for upgrading vehicles and upgrading infrastructure for clean vehicles. The cool thing about these is, unlike our rebates or grants programs, you don't need to apply and hope that you get the credit It's simply a matter of if you have the qualifications and you fill out the paperwork, you'll get the tax credit more or less guaranteed, uh, assuming everything checks out. But you will get that tax credit, and that's something that can stack on top of EPA funds. That's something that can stack on state funds, on other government agency funds, as long as you're meeting those criteria for clean vehicles or clean vehicle refueling infrastructure. So please, if you're interested in that, if you are in this process right now of looking for vehicles and want easy supplement, well, relatively easy supplemental funding, please go to the IRS website and check out specifically that commercial clean vehicle credit for up to $40,000 per clean vehicle. And then there's an alternative fuel vehicle refueling property credit, which can get you up to $100,000 for qualified charging and refueling infrastructure. Again, we're not allowed to give tax advice, so that's the extent of what I can say on all of that. And then just flagging, kind of keeping everyone in the loop. I know if you've been on these calls, you've probably heard some of this before, but just want to keep this conversation rolling as we're going in, as we're kind of in this lull period right now where we've announced rebates. Those are getting processed. We will have applications for the next round of rebates likely opening in the late summer, early fall. So just to kind of keep you in the loop on where we're at and what we're trying to do in terms of coalition, in terms of Region 5 EPA. We're thinking a lot about outreach. How can we impact and influence our outreach? So one of them is this call is our kind of our main finger on the pulse of outreach in Indiana. So if people in this coalition have ideas or want to collaborate or amplify outreach together, that's something we're open to discussing and talking about. Please feel free to reach out to me at the email at the bottom, cranberg.carter@epa.gov. Curious also with just the coalition in general, are there people that should be a part of this conversation that aren't? And that can be nonprofits, that can be educational groups, that can be other school districts that might have electric vehicles or alternative fuel vehicles that aren't a part of this conversation that should be. That could be school districts that are interested in upgrading their fleet, and we want to kind of bring them into the fold here and help build up this coalition and give them the support they need. And then just going forward, are there potential applicants that we could bring into this coalition? So that's something we're going to do. We're going to outreach to potential applicants via email and kind of do some email blasts here targeting them saying, hey, you are an eligible applicant. You should apply. Here's the funding. Also, here's an invite to our coalition. But if other people on this call are looking to do the same thing or want to collaborate, like I said, we're happy to do that. We are still doing visits. We're looking broadly, both within Indiana, within the region, actually now we're looking a little bit even wider than the region, but looking at events where we can target applicants. So that can be superintendents for school districts, that can be directors of transportation. We're looking to find those people who are making those key decisions and going to be on the actual application itself and to talk with them, give them resources, connect with them. So there's flagged these in the past, but there's the Student Transportation News Conference. I think that might have already happened. This might be a little outdated, but that's an example of kind of a prime event that we're looking at. Superintendent events. There's a large superintendent event in the fall that we're looking at doing as well. But if other folks have suggestions or have their own events or know of things, please send them our way. We'd be happy to look at them and see if we can send some folks out. And then the other last thing here is we are really, our headquarters has been kind of hitting on this point a lot lately. They are really looking to amplify and broadcast people's successes. Before we were asking simply just for pictures that people had of their buses, but now they want to go another step and collect stories. So if folks have stories, news articles, video essays, podcasts, anything that they've done to highlight kind of the success of their school buses or similar EPA funding programs and how they've impacted their school district or their community. That's something we'd love to collect and then amplify up and blast out to the world. So please feel free to send those my way. I'd be happy to share them if you're comfortable sharing it. And with that, thank you. I'll hand it back over to Carl.
Thank you, Carter. We do have an award that we had. There was an award presentation that was made last Friday through the Partners for Clean Air program, which is strictly for Northwest Indiana, Lakeport and LaPorte counties. And so one of our bus vendors, Curlin Bus, was nominated for an award, and they received the award from the commissioner of the state of Indiana Department of Environmental Management. So we'll share that story and the photos from that, Carter. So excited about that.
Oh, awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. A couple things, just to bring everybody up. Sean Seals, who's the co-chair from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, is currently preparing for the VW Mitigation Awards, which are going to take place in about an hour at 12 noon Central, 1 Eastern. And I believe there are several schools that applied for some clean school bus applications through the Indiana VW mitigation. So stay tuned for that. We'll update that on our next call. Also, just to let you know, please be on the lookout for an announcement coming from Drive Clean Indiana, which in the Indiana Clean School Bus, we will be putting in a statewide application for the EPA Clean Heavy Duty Vehicle for school buses, and then also a separate application for Class 6 and 7. So if you're interested in being part of a statewide application, please reach out. And like I said, we will probably be doing a separate webinar on that. Lots and lots of activities that are going on across the state. I would just mention, Carter, that I know a lot of our school corporations are doing their school bus inspections with the Indiana State Police. And I think one of the things that we probably would like to include in an upcoming webinar is maybe to have the Indiana State Police come on to talk about some of their inspections as they inspect electric school buses in the state of Indiana and what that process might entail and things that they should be aware of in collaboration with our partnerships on this call and folks that are not on this call. So I know we did have some questions from that, and just like utilizing all the resources that we have, we've given them the same opportunities to reach out. So excited about that and what that's going to bring to the future of clean school buses in the state of Indiana. And then implementation of plans. I think there's just, as you can see with our speakers, Abby and Carter and Tony and Sean, as we speak about the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, it's about partnerships. So again, as Carter said, if there's something that you would like to learn more about or highlight, I do think that we would like to continue to highlight some of the deployments here in our state. And then also, one of the things that we talked about on the last webinar was our Empower project, which really was workplace charging with a lot of our school bus coalitions throughout Indiana. So a lot of our schools are looking at utilizing the electric school bus chargers potentially to employ teachers that potentially, when those chargers aren't being used, to utilize that charging infrastructure. Then also another thing that we were thinking about was having some of our utilities talk about some of the successful deployments. And again, I think that's the number one thing that we always talk about is, connecting with your utility partner. So if you don't know who that is, we have that information and we'd be happy to share that with you. So if you are interested in deployments, questions, non-biased information, please reach out to Drive Clean Indiana. So this is just some information on Drive Clean Indiana. So if you're interested in being part of our coalition, the Drive Clean Indiana Coalition, this is the information. And next slide, please. And then upcoming Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium webinars. So our next one will be July 16th. We will not be doing one in August or September. But then because of school and because of some of the news that we've received from a lot of our transportation managers, just such a busy time for our schools. So July 16th, October 15th, November 12th, December 17th. And then we also are planning an in-person meeting with our Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, which will be the 20th of November. And you'll hear more information on July 16th about that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write those in the chat and give it a few minutes. But again, a lot of interesting projects, a lot of interesting information that's available. We've got some great partners with some providers of school buses. And, so if you have questions, information, total cost of ownership, we just like to, share all that. Yes, Susan, you can come off of mute. Hey, Danielle, can you take Susan?
I think I just figured it out. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate you. If I understood what you just said, Carl, you're offering and planning to do a joint application to the Clean Heavy Duty Vehicle for Indiana schools. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you for doing that. That's great. Is there anything we can do to help? For instance, in Minnesota, where we know they're doing it, we've been sending out information to the schools that they are focusing on. Are you focusing in any particular area or any Indiana K through 12 school that
Mainly
fits
the
the description?
non-attainment, yeah, mainly the non-attainment
Not-
school throughout the state, yeah. So we can share that offline with you, and maybe we can have a conversation of how you can assist us with that.
Yeah,
So
we'd be glad to help get the word out or whatever. Yeah.
Sure.
So thank
the
you for doing it.
announcement, yeah, you're welcome. Again, we have not made the official announcement, so look for that. But we've already begun working on that, Susan. So yeah, I'll reach out to you directly, and we can collaborate on that. So, any other comments or questions,
and
Susan?
I think your idea about having a session with the state police about inspections is a really good idea. I know in some states, there's been surprises.
Mhm.
And in some states where they've done those in advance, it's been really helpful. So I think that's a great idea. And I gather that you've got the contacts at all the Indiana utilities for schools. That would be great if you could share that. We've struggled in some locations to get the direct contact for people.
Sure.
That'd be great. And then I wanted to ask you about the picture of you rattled off something really quickly about an award, and I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about it. It sounded like great news, but I didn't catch it all.
Sure. So for fleets organizations that are located in Lake Porter or Port County, there's another group that we are in partnership with. It's with the Partners for Clean Air, and Partners for Clean Air has been around for probably about 25 years since we've been involved with Drive Clean Indiana, South Shore Clean Cities, and it's a multitude of things, and a lot of it is because of Ozone Action Days. So we hold a multitude of educational days throughout the year, and this was the awards for the 2023 partners and some of the accomplishments that they had in Lake LaPorte or Porter. It could be solar related, it could be clean fuel related, clean school bus, and again, one of the vendors that we work with that's been a partner throughout the state of Indiana has been Curlin Thomas Buses. They represent Thomas, and they were nominated for an award, and they accepted the award. So they've deployed, I believe, 47 electric school buses throughout the state of Indiana. And then I know on the recently announced awards for the rebates, they worked with a lot of those school districts. So again, a good partner for the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, and then for partners, and they've just been an advocate for everything clean fuels throughout the state of Indiana. So with that award, it was great to see they're recognized for their hard work. And
Yeah, that was great.
yeah, so
And was that Latoya King in the photo? Looked
I
like
believe
her.
it was, yes, it
So-
was.
So is
You know?
South Bend getting some of those buses?
Oh, this was at our last year's awards for
Oh,
our
okay.
annual technology conference. But yes, Latoya is very much involved with several projects here in our state. So
Yeah, she's great.
she's
That's
a great advocate for
Yeah.
electric school buses. So
Yeah.
a lot more to come, a lot more awards, a lot more recognition for our partners throughout our state. So again, just looking at our upcoming webinars, just want to make everybody aware this has been recorded. This will be on our website. If you have any questions, any connection, there are no stupid questions, and we look forward to seeing you on July 16th if there are no other questions in the chat. So thank you for being on the call today, and we look forward to seeing you on July 16th. So happy summer, everyone.
Carl, are you still there?